What made you realize that even if the artwork is crystal clear, you still shouldn't judge a book by its cover? When Mr. Petrov moved into our quiet neighborhood, something instantly felt off about him. He never made eye contact with anyone. In fact, the moment he arrived, Tanya from 2 houses down, who was walking over to him with her famous welcome cookies, stopped dead in her tracks when she saw his face. She practically sprinted back to her house. Right away, my phone started buzzing like crazy, and when I checked the neighborhood group chat, Tanya had already posted, "OMG, just googled our new neighbor Petrov. He's on the intimacy offender website." The messages exploded with shock and anger, and within minutes, Barb, our HOA president, posted an emergency meeting at her house. My wife read over my shoulder and grabbed my arm, saying we need to go to this meeting. That evening, over 20 neighbors packed into Barb's living room. Barb passed around printed registry pages saying the offense involved a minor 20 years ago. But do we really need to know more when our children walk past that house every day? Her husband checked Zillow on his laptop while neighbors shared fears, and one father announced he was installing cameras. The next morning, my 16-year-old son Reggie mentioned he had helped a new neighbor carry a box, and said he seemed nice but really sad. My wife cut him off asking if he talked to him alone, and started checking Reggie over like he had been exposed to something toxic. She told him to never go near that house again, not even walk on that side of the street. Reggie said the man just seemed lonely. She snapped back that lonely men who hurt children always seem nice. The ostracization started immediately with mothers crossing the street when Petrov walked by, and his hellos were met with silence. Kids started daring each other to ring his doorbell and run, and I saw his grocery deliveries smashed on his porch. At the dog park one morning, I watched him arrive with an old golden retriever, and every other owner immediately leashed up and left. One woman loudly said, "I don't feel safe with him here," leaving Petrov standing alone throwing a ball for his confused dog. The day everything changed was when elderly Mr. Warner had a heart episode while mowing, and Petrov, who was closest, ran over immediately performing CPR, while Mrs. Warner called 911. But when paramedics arrived, she wouldn't stop screaming, "Get away from him!" even though Petrov had already backed away, letting the professionals take over. Later, Barb posted that a predator had touched her father with no mention that he had saved her father's life. My curiosity piqued, and I did deeper research, finding out that his conviction was when he was 19 and was caught with a 17-year-old victim. But then I found a marriage license from 1 year later and a birth announcement for his daughter in 2006. Cold washed over me when I found the obituaries from 2020 showing his wife and daughter were killed by a drunk driver. Everything shifted the night my wife was away, and it was just me and Reggie. At 11 p.m. I heard breaking glass downstairs. Looking out, I saw an unfamiliar truck, and through the banister could see 2 men inside our living room, one holding a crowbar ransacking the place, while my phone sat uselessly in the kitchen. My son woke, and I whispered for him to lock the door and hide as footsteps came up the stairs. I grabbed Reggie's baseball bat as the intruder kicked in the bedroom door. Suddenly a shout from downstairs rang out, "Police are coming!" I recognized Petrov's voice as he had seen the broken window and came to check on us. I heard a loud bang, making the intruders panic and run. By the time I came downstairs, Petrov was on the lawn shouting the license plate number repeatedly and calling 911 from the yard. Police arrived quickly, and Petrov gave a perfect description, staying to give his statement despite neighbors gathering and glaring before leaving quietly. The next morning, Barb was at my door asking if I was okay, but before I could explain, she continued saying, "Him watching your house at night isn't normal, and how did he happen to see them? Maybe he was with them." By afternoon, she made everyone believe Petrov admitted to watching houses at night, and people spiraled suggesting he was grooming the neighborhood. I baked cookies to thank him, but my wife intercepted asking if I was insane. We argued until we compromised to leave them on his porch. Then someone posted his work address online, and his employer got calls about employing predators. He came home with a box of belongings the next day. I knew this was spiraling towards something terrible, and knew he didn't deserve the false claims made against him. I knew I had to do something about it. Full story on channel, link below.